Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to a new podcast series. I'm putting out the Opinion Release Papers. FCPA opinion releases are a very useful tool that is baked into the statute, the FCPA itself. You can ask questions to the Department of Justice that are fact-based scenarios about an action your company would like to engage in and get an opinion back. These provide a great source of information for the compliance practitioner, in addition to being useful to the companies that utilize them. Over this series, I'm going to visit opinion releases and mine those for the facts presented to the Department of Justice and what the resolution was. In this episode, I take up Opinion Release 10-02, released in 2010, which deals with charitable donations under the FCPA. This is an important opinion release and one that you will find incredibly useful. Opinion Release 10-02. What is a company to do if, in order to win a contract with a foreign government, they must agree to invest a percentage of the proceeds of the transaction into the community in which it operates as a charitable donation? This issue was considered in the second opinion release of 2010, 10-02. This issue is often negotiated with the foreign government and can include cash or an in-kind contribution of computers, equipment, or appliances to schools, communities, or organizations. While not a payment to a government official, it is still a payment to a government entity for the purposes of securing a lucrative contract and therefore requires careful consideration under the FCPA. Background. This opinion release dealt with a U.S.-based microfinancial institution operating in an unnamed Eurasian country. The MFI desired to convert its local operations from a humanitarian status to a commercial status. The relevant government licensing authority in the country in question required that, as a condition precedent to obtaining this commercial license, the MFI would be required to make a substantial grant to some other local MFIs, providing a list of one or more that the U.S. company could choose from. The U.S. MFI was concerned that by making such a donation as a condition precedent and specifying the list of local MFIs to which the donation could be made, the U.S. MFI could run afoul of the FCPA's proscription of corruptly giving or offering anything of value to a foreign official in order to assist in obtaining or retaining business with or for or directing business to any person. In addition to the specific discussion of the due diligence performed by the U.S. MFI and noting the controls it had put in place after the funding was scheduled to be made, the Department of Justice listed several of the diligence and/or controls that it had previously set forth in prior opinion releases relating to charitable donations. These included certifications by the recipient that it will comply with the requirements of the FCPA, due diligence to confirm that none of the recipient's officers or directors are affiliated with the foreign government at issue, a requirement that the recipient provide audited financial statements, a written agreement with the recipient restricting the use of funds to humanitarian or charitable purposes only, steps to ensure that the funds were transferred to a valid bank account, confirmation that the contemplated activities had occurred before the funds were distributed, and ongoing auditing and monitoring of the efficacy of the program. DOJ analysis. In stating that the Department of Justice does not intend to take any enforcement action with regard to the proposed transaction, the opinion release specified 3 levels of due diligence that the U.S. MFI had engaged in on the proposed local MFIs, which were listed as eligible to receive the funding. The Department of Justice noted that it is satisfied that the requester has done an appropriate level of due diligence and that the controls that it plans to institute are sufficient to prevent FCPA violations. As noted, the requester conducted 3 rounds of due diligence. The controls the requester proposed would ensure with reasonable certainty that the grant money from the Eurasian subsidiary would not be transferred to officials of the Eurasian country. Discussion. Opinion Release 10-02 provides a wealth of information for the FCPA compliance practitioner and compliance counsel. It gives specific guidance on the levels of due diligence that a U.S. company should go through when investigating a charitable institution selected or even suggested by a foreign government official to be put to be the recipient of a company's charitable donations. Further, it lists the controls that a U.S. company should put in place should it determine that a charitable donation is made. In short, Opinion Release 1002 gives significant guidance in the pre-donation due diligence investigation, evaluation, and post-donation monitoring going forward to manage the process. Opinion Release 1002 is a very large and very helpful educational tool in the FCPA compliance arena. It is one that you should study and be aware of. And if you find yourself in a situation where you are directed to make a charitable donation by a foreign government, this is the way that you can protect yourself to make sure that the monies you donate or the goods in kind that you donate do not go to the benefit of either the foreign official who directed you to the charity or to other foreign officials that would influence the decision for your contract. You should note this was the source of FCPA enforcement actions involving Sharing Plow and Eli Lilly for their charitable donations in Poland, where they made donations to a charity run by, started by, and operated by the head of the government agency which was awarding them contracts. So this is something that has been the subject of FCPA enforcement actions. It's something the government is looking at on a regular basis. And this opinion release really lays out for you how you can safely navigate this most difficult area, but important, difficult area under the FCPA, but certainly important area from the business realm. Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox again. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Opinion Release Papers. I hope you will join me again for another episode. If you have any questions on the information presented in this episode of the Opinion Release Papers, please give me a shout at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. The Opinion Release Papers is a special presentation of the Compliance Podcast Network.